And we are live. AJ Swiatek, Gavin, Connolly on the call tonight. First York Dukes football game with fans in the stands in over a year, and it's crazy to be here. You can see the Dukes absolutely pumped, and you got to give credit where credit's due. This JV sophomore action. Dukes took care of business earlier today. Knocks down the Saxons 47-0, up 40-0 at the half. The running clock was in action. Gavin, that was an absolute slaughtering, but we are focused on the matter at hand. Dukes vs. Saxons will be underway in just about 4 minutes. Who are some players you're looking to see get in the action, whether it be for their first time on varsity or just returning stars?
Well, AJ, thanks for having me. So great to be out here tonight. So a lot of new faces for the Dukes, a lot of incoming juniors, but man, do they have some talent. Running back Kelly Watson is a really big name to look for. He'll be the starting tailback for tonight. And
I think Mark Schneider will still be the starter, but
he will? Okay.
For sure.
Subject to change, but yeah, we've seen Kelly as a freshman and a sophomore, and we've known even before he was at York that this kid can play. So look for him as well. For wide receivers, Brian Grant and Charlie Speck, they have some pop as well. Big names on the offensive side of the football for the Dukes.
Oh, absolutely. And of course it's at a albeit smaller level, but Kelly Watson was absolutely electric in this past season. He had 8.7 yards per carry. That's just unprecedented. If he could even get half of that here with the Dukes, we're going to see some success tonight. I expect to see a lot of running formations, clear run plays from the Dukes tonight. It's been a battle throughout camp for the starting quarterback job. It was recently decided, I believe, that the York Dukes are going to roll with the seniority, send out senior Colin Doherty out there under the gun. But I expect to see a lot of run plays. I talked to Nolan Korzanowski before the game. He's a defensive end for the Dukes. He expected to see much of the same. Korzanowski expects the Dukes to have their first major season in a long time, make some action. He said he expects 7 wins from the Dukes in a 9-game season. That would be absolutely great. Looking to get started off on the right foot here against the Saxons. And of course, what better way to start off than with an electric defensive or offensive play cooked up by Coach Fitzgerald. Gavin, we've seen Fitzgerald out here for a couple years now, led the Dukes to their first winning season last season. What does he have to do to build on what he got started last year?
Well, I just think it starts with just creating a winning culture, and he gets the most out of his guys, and it's clear to see. Like, even as the Dukes were coming in, we can see the energy is there. I mean, these kids were just bumping. It feels like almost like the Dukes were at like a home game or something. This is their first away game of the season. So just the energy that this team has and the leadership that Coach Fitz has, it's just great to see, and hopefully it continues in years to come.
Oh, absolutely. It's been great to see this show up from the York Dukes fans. Of course, big thank you if you're tuning in live or watching after the fact. But it's great to see fans in the stands here to support the Dukes, traveled all the way out to Schaumburg. I mean, it's about a 25-minute, half-hour ride. Big thanks to the Schaumburg Saxons and company for letting us come out. It looks like they're placing the ball on the tee. This game is about to get underway. The Dukes will start off on defense. A few players to watch on the defense side of the ball. Aforementioned Nolan Korzanowski, but also Everett Snyder. Snyder at former levels for the Dukes did play safety. This year he will be playing defensive end, and he is going to be a menace off the edge. If the quarterback holds on to the ball for even a second too long, that edge duo of Korzanowski and Snyder is going to be deadly. We're about to get the first play of 2021 football action. The fans are loud. Here we go. The ball is kicked, and it's a good one. You have to field the opening kickoff. You got to catch that. This is not a punt. That could have been recovered by the Dukes. Great pinpoint kick to get the Dukes started off on defense with the Saxons pinned inside their own 20.
It seemed almost like a brain fart by the return man from Schaumburg. He just kind of watched it fly as if he had called for a fair catch. But no, you gotta get that. Dukes could have got a major break early in the game.
Oh yeah, absolutely great start for the Dukes. You see him fired up on the sidelines. As for the Saxons, just one play, got to get over it, and here comes the offense looking to do so. I don't know if it speaks for the varsity level, but I'll tell you in the game before this, the Saxons quarterback was looking sharp, and based on the fact that he was able to play at the sophomore level, looks like this Najari Williams, who everyone's been talking about out here, will be making an impact for the Saxons. There's a flag on the first play. Doesn't even take more than one play. Shout out Michael Spur. What's up, man? Doesn't take more than one play to get it going. You see the Saxons clapping. Looks like it may have been an encroachment on the defense. It is. Encroachment on the Dukes. That makes the drive 5 yards easier for the Saxons. You see Fitzgerald absolutely fired up, and rightfully so. You know, I learned this from the Oklahoma Sooners. I can't take credit for this one. But drives that start off with a play of 5 yards or more score on over 50% of their possessions. Otherwise, it's under 15%. So that's a huge start for the Saxons. First and 5 off the edge. Oh, wow, this kid can move.
Great play by the quarterback there. Nolan Korzanowski already making his presence heard. Just missed the sack, and the Saxons were able to get a few yards out of that.
Absolutely, and Kors, as most of the Dukes know him as, he's a funny kid. Always has something on his mind. And, I mean, he's fun to watch out there. Great tackle, gets the Dukes started, forces the second down for the Saxons, but nonetheless a great ability to move out of the pocket there when pressure was there, evaded some tackles, and was able to make a little something out of nothing. More whistles before the second snap of the game. Looks like there was a sideline warning. Yep, and it was. Duke stepping behind the sideline. Not something you see too often, but, I mean, more common at the high school level than not.
Sideline warning on the second.
And here come the Saxons, lined up in a clear path formation. Korzanowski off the edge. That ball is on the ground.
Batted down
Incomplete
by
pass.
Korzanowski.
Nolan Kors. 2 plays and 2 big ones.
And they are fired up.
What a start to the game for this Dukes defense. It is 3rd down, Dukes fans. Here we go. Now, Gavin, limited time to talk here, but are you expecting a pass, or are they going to try to run this up the gun here?
I actually think they're going to run the ball. They tried to pass the first 2 times, and Korzanowski really snuffed it out.
They're passing. Looks like a screen. Oh! That's a crusher.
That would have been 6 for the Dukes.
Oh,
right off
6.
the hands of Aiden Naraki. Oh, man. That would have been the perfect way to capitalize a textbook defensive stand.
Absolutely brutal there, but nonetheless, great stops from the Dukes. 4th down coming for the Saxons. Looks like we have 4th and about 5. Lining up to punt. Grabbed cleanly, and the punt is past the 50, but not by much. Dukes on the return.
Received by Grant, but he only got a few yards.
Not the greatest of blocking efforts there from the Dukes. Resulted in an almost immediate tackle. Maybe would have had an extra yard with a fair catch there. But now we can see what the Dukes are doing on offense. They have heard all kinds of backlash from the local media about how they've had a QB battle throughout camp, about how this, about how that. You know what? I'll tell you about the positive. They're returning 4 of their 5 starters up front. That's always a great sign. I love both wide receivers on the outsides. And Cal Harris, absolutely got to watch out there. First play is a handoff, as expected, up the middle. 1st down and more.
Big hole. They got some big boys on this offensive line. Ellis McAdoo, Chris Markison. We've got some mammoths on the front 5 for the Dukes, and you see right there a big gain by running back Mark Schneider.
Absolutely. Huge play to start the game, and they'll go right back to the run. And another big pickup from Schneider. You know, Schneider was so great just a couple years ago. Looks like he may already be back to that form. You don't want to jump the gun, but this duo of him and Kelly Watson can be something special for the Dukes, especially in a season where running the ball seems so important. 3 straight run plays and yet another semi-successful one, but that sets us up with what looks to be about a 3rd and 6.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. 3 straight inside runs for the Dukes, and it was at the 3rd time that the Saxons kind of figured it out.
So there's a bit of confusion here. Doherty looking at the sideline to pick up on the play call, breaks down the huddle. Could see another run play here, but they are ran in the trips formation, which is typically a passing formation I expect to see. Slants ran here. He does throw the out route. Is the ball caught? That's the question. Waiting for the signal from the ref, and it is. 1st down, Dukes. Great quick.
Play.
You know, that's what Coach Fitzgerald is so great at. You see, just making it as easy as he can for this quarterback right off the bat.
That was a tight window for Doherty, too, right on the money.
Absolutely. I mean, making it easy to just throw the quick, scripted play. Got another flag prior to the snap.
It looked like someone on the Saxons got a little too excited.
And that encroachment does come against the Saxons. That leads to a 1st and 5 for the Dukes. And, you know, with Max the Leg Hansman on the team, they're already getting close to field goal range, capitalizing on not only kicking the ball, but ending up with a huge defensive stop and getting their offense on the field.
And the Dukes are marching right now.
Yes, they are. Now it's Doherty with another give to Schneider. Schneider, so shifty off the edge. That is another 1st down for the Dukes. Man, this is an impressive showing. Ground and pound the stone. Old football is not dead, clearly not by Coach Fitzgerald's playbook. It's worked so far. They're driving themselves all the way down the field, and rightfully so. Everything has gone right for this Dukes offense so far. Only 1 3rd down, and it was picked up beautifully on the out route. I've liked everything I've seen so far from the Dukes. From offense to defense, it looks great. Another same call to Schneider. That one not as successful.
Schneider got 3 on that last run to the outside. Make that 4. 2nd and 6 for the Dukes.
Doherty lined up in the shotgun. Potential pass here. No, and they read that like a book. Absolutely stuffed. Huge play by number 54, Michael Connolly. Connolly's a senior for the Saxons. He's had his presence heard a couple times already today. Absolutely bottled up that run for what looked to be a loss of 1. Duke's now poised with a 3rd and 7. And, I mean, almost certainly Colin Doherty will be dropping back to pass for his first longer throw of the outing. And another flag. A lot of
Did they get him to jump again?
Both teams pointing at each other. Doherty seems to know it was a false start. Now the Dukes are set with a 3rd and 12, so they'll certainly be passing now,
This one is going to be
assume.
much harder than their last 3rd down, that's for sure. This would be a disappointing end to what we thought was going to be a great drive from the Dukes. They seem to be moving the ball effortlessly, but
drops back to pass.
Plays.
Doherty, he wants it all! Did he get his feet in? No, didn't hold possession. Out of bounds regardless. You know, Duke's parents aren't happy with that one, but either way, pretty clearly an incompletion there. Doherty wanted it all. I like the aggression there.
And it looked like number 11, Jack Wagner, seemed to get pushed out of bounds. The ball was not in play yet, so no flag.
They were definitely
some contact.
Expecting short pass. The Dukes go for it all. You know, Wagner and Harris on the outside is just such a solid duo. And it's really looks great so far. Are they going for it?
The Dukes are on the field with a 4th and 12
maybe just
to
a
go.
hard snap here. This is interesting. I've seen Max Hansman in warm-ups. He could certainly make it from inside the 40. In this situation, he's inside the 30. Yeah, just goes for the hard snap. Doesn't work out. Decide to kick it. Absolutely the right decision on a 4th and 12. First time out charge to the Dukes. Dukes still have 2 left. Saxons with all 3. 8:09 to go for the Dukes here at the Saxons. York Sports Network, your place for all York sports. AJ Swiatek, Gavin, Connolly on the call. We'll be right back after this timeout. And we're back. They do line up for the field goal. Kicker Max Hansman looking to nail it. He does. He had a lot of extra yards on that one. Beautiful kick, and the Dukes take the 3-0 lead.
That's got to feel like a victory for the Saxons. It looked like it was going to be an easy 6 for the Dukes, but a big stand around the 30-yard line, and the Dukes come away empty-handed.
You know, he had a lot of extra distance on that one.
He did. Pulled it a little bit left.
Yes, he did. From our angle in the booth, it's tough to see. He pulled that one a little left. You know, that's a kick you'd like to have back.
Absolutely.
It's one of the easier ones you're going to see today. But you see how quick the Dukes on the sidelines are to get Hansman up. They're not going to bear him down. That's why this team is a team. He'll be back out there kicking more field goals tonight. And it was a great start to the game for the Dukes. Now we have to see what the Saxons can do on offense. And the
Dukes only let up 1 yard on their last drive, and they're looking to do the same here on this drive.
Absolutely. Great start there. Huge stuff. Couple of Dukes in there on the tackle. Looks like we'll have a 2nd and 10. They say there was no gain on that one. DeJounte Wilson goes from under center to a bit more of a shotgun look here. Motion in the backfield. They'll pitch it back. Gives the Dukes a lot of time to react. And they get there. This Dukes defense has looked sharp tonight.
Yeah, that seemed to be some sort of a trick play there. Try and get the Dukes to bait, go in the inside, run on.
She probably was muted.
3rd and 7 now for the Saxons. Rolling out, this quarterback can move, but not necessarily what you want to do there. You got to know the situation of the game. 3rd down. Rolls out, incomplete pass.
And just immediate pressure from the Dukes. Everett Snyder and Nolan Korzanowski just immediately have to rush the quarterback out of the pocket. It makes it so hard.
And that was something the Dukes were very good at last season. I mean, just looking at Jeffrey Coglianese alone, he had 33 solo tackles, 4 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks. That's just one example. This York Dukes defense in total, but even more so that up front defense is just a well-oiled machine.
And that was only with 6 games played last year, a shortened season due to COVID, and still very good numbers.
Nearly blocked. Great job off the line there. He lets it drop and makes the wrong decision. That gets inside the 20 with some forward spin. The Saxons make it a lot tougher on the Dukes this time.
Yeah, tough field position for York. Offense has some work to do.
Here come the Dukes, still locked at 0-0. Doherty from the shotgun. They're throwing to start this drive. Ball is caught on the sideline, and he's got some room to run. Great stuff there from the Saxons.
That pass was a little bit behind Harris. Kind of tough for a screen pass when your momentum's going backwards to forwards, but he made the best of it.
Don't gain any yards there. It was a good effort. You'd like to see that ball placed a little better. It was an interesting call. It looked like they were on the right hash. They threw a screen to the opposite side, which gives the defense more time to react, makes it a harder throw for the first-year starting quarterback. Nevertheless, the Dukes with another opportunity here, and it's stuffed again. Defensive battle so far, Gavin.
Absolutely, yeah. Running the ball to Schneider was working a bit for the Dukes, but the Saxons have seemed to catch on. These inside zones have not been in the favor of York this last drive and a half.
Third and 8. Wagner looks to be lined up on the outside. They wanted him in the end zone on that last drive. Saxons look to be running a bit of man-to-man action here, at least a corner on each of the receivers. At least that's what it appears to be. If Doherty could read that, We all know how great Wagner is at beating that, and he does just that. Jack
Wide
Wagner
open.
moves the chains for the Dukes, just as expected. You can't run man-to-man against these Dukes receivers. They are just too shifty.
Wide open on that corner route. Doherty put it on the money. First down, Dukes.
It's a great strike delivered from Colin Doherty.
And that was a big first down for the Dukes, because if you don't get that first down, you're punting, giving the Saxons good field position.
Absolutely. Oh, Doherty with the QB keeper, and the Saxons don't expect it. Colin Doherty picks up at least what looks to be 25 yards there.
A great run there. Really showing his legs.
Coach Fitzgerald is keeping these Saxons on their heels. Never know what's going to come. That's the first keeper of the night, and Doherty runs it beautifully.
And look to see more from him as well.
Fakes the keeper that time and actually gives it to Schneider. Schneider looks to pick up about 4.
And back to that last run by
Colin Doherty.
Thank you. Having him as a threat on the ground is going to open up so many more holes for Schneider as well, you have to think. Saxons have to keep both of those guys in mind.
Absolutely reminds you a little bit of what Harbaugh and the Ravens do out there. We've seen a lot of power T and wing T from the Dukes tonight. It's exactly what the Baltimore does. It's exactly what you see all the time at the Division I level. It keeps teams on their toes, and now all of a sudden Doherty's in the shotgun. They're mixing it up. They're making it hard for the defense. He's handed it off in the shotgun multiple times and does the same here. Schneider fights for extra yards, and it's going to be 3rd and short. This is just such a versatile offense. Great playbook put together by Coach Fitzgerald, looking to get the second Dukes winning season in a very long time. Looks like the chain gang has decided that is a first down. Saxon's crowd is letting them hear it, but it is a 1st and 10 for the Dukes nonetheless. Another fake screen handoff. You know, they are giving Schneider a lot of work early.
Yeah, and he's looked good. Fighting for extra yardage, running, falling downhill, get a couple extra yards. That's good stuff.
It absolutely is. Here come the Dukes. 2 guys out wide. Doherty does look to pass. He's going for the end zone again. He wants it all. 1v1. Oh, my goodness. Just a little short for Wagner. Had to slow down. Couldn't corral it in.
Again, not the best throw by Doherty, but I do love the aggressiveness from Fitzgerald.
A few times now in the red zone, they've wanted to go for that big ball. And that's just the age-old debate. Do you make it a 3rd and manageable? Do you potentially pick up the first down, or do you go for it all? Multiple times now, the Dukes have gone for it all and failed. It'll be interesting to see if they continue with this strategy, continuing on with this game.
I'd like to bet that they're going to just try and get some yardage here, make it a more manageable field goal from Hansman after he missed his first one.
Get it to the hash mark he likes to kick from.
Absolutely, yeah.
Especially after he pulled that last one, I would agree. But no, they're dropping back to pass. They want it all. Little trickery. He's got the 1st and more. Beautiful play. Cal Harris, absolute stud out there. Doherty with the completion to him, and the Dukes offense picks up a much-needed first down. They're inside the red zone.
Yeah, Saxons were not ready for that one. Harris had a bunch of Dukes surrounding him, able to block, get him in the red zone.
Doherty now hands it off. Fights for some extra yards. Minimal game there for the Dukes. Second and 5, 3 minutes to go now in the second quarter, or in the first quarter rather. Dukes looking to get themselves on the board. Another give to Schneider. This time he's rumbling, he's bumbling, he's stumbling into the end zone. Dukes get their 6 points in a big way. Mark Schneider making his presence heard here at Saxons Arena. Gavin, the run game has worked. It's worked, and it's worked even better.
Hey, power run game, baby. Old school football. Dukes have drawn it up to a T, and Schneider's done the work.
Now here's a chance for Max Hansman to get back in the zone after that missed field goal. This would be a nice little confidence booster and a nice booster to the scoreboard to get the Dukes on top 7-0. This time it's right down the middle.
And going back to that touchdown, AJ, I mentioned earlier those big O linemen up front. It is so important to have a great offensive line to, one, protect your quarterback, and two, to establish a great power running game like we just saw on the Dukes last drive.
Oh, absolutely, and a lot of that comes with experience. And what better experience than bringing back 4 of your 5 starters up front? Clearly it's clicking for them early as the Dukes' run game has looked great, whether it be by the QB keeper or by the gives to Mark Schneider. The Dukes are on top 7-0 with 2:49 to go. York Sports Network, your place for all York sports. We'll be right back for the kickoff. And we're back. 2:49 to go. Dukes lead the Saxons in Schaumburg 7-0. Lining up for the kickoff here. The Dukes offense. The Dukes have really dominated in every category thus far.
Absolutely. It started from their defense. A lot of playmakers on the defensive line. I mean, if they keep the Saxons out of the end zone, this should be an easy dub for the Dukes.
Don't want to get ahead of ourselves. It's looked great so far. Let's see if it can continue. A little bit of a wobbler there, trying to catch the Saxons off guard potentially, but it does leave them at about the 25 regardless. Out trots DeJounte Wilson and company for the Saxons. You know, the Saxons haven't had the greatest start to this game, but I've liked what I've seen from DeJounte. I would like to see him keep his eyes down the field a little bit more, but he showed the ability to move. If they could run the run-pass options effectively, Gavin, it could absolutely lead to success in a much-needed situation.
Crowd trying to get loud here in Schaumburg.
Jari Williams Jr., he's been the lead back all night. I've heard the talk of the town is that he's a pretty special kid. They give it to him twice. Looks like they're running a little hurry-up offense here, trying to get the Dukes off their game.
They ran a little bit of hurry-up there, trying to take a page out of the Dukes book. The Dukes ran a lot of hurry-up the first 2 drives. Saxon's trying to steal something out of Fitz's playbook.
I don't know about that, but yet again, it looks like they're opting to not go into the huddle, keep the Dukes guessing. We see a 3rd and 4 after 2 semi-successful runs from Najari Williams. They keep the same offense out there.
Can the Dukes force the 3 and out?
They've done so twice tonight. Wouldn't be surprised, but Williams does look like he will be getting back to pass here. No, fakes out the Dukes. Big run for Najari Williams of a gain of about 15.
First down of the game for the Saxons, and that came at a much-needed time. Let's see if they build off this momentum. A big play from Williams.
That's good.
Minute 38 to go in this first quarter. No rush for the Saxons. Looking to see what Wilson could do under center. Another give from Wilson. These are two run-heavy offenses, and that is bottled up.
Snuffed out by number 2, Aiden Naraki, the senior. He saw that one coming. The pre-snap motion did not fool him.
That was an absolute massacre.
That's just a great way to respond after you give up a 15-yard play, keep the defense on the field, respond with a big play of their own.
Absolutely sniffed that one out beautifully there. Aiden Naraki, he's had his name called a couple times tonight, and rightfully so. He's been all over the place, just like the rest of this Dukes defense. They've been doing a great job, but they'll have to continue to do so here as Wilson drops back to throw off the hands of his intended target, incomplete. 3rd and 15 for the Saxons.
Now, the last meeting between the Dukes and the Saxons actually was back in 2019. It was an overtime win for the Dukes, and this is their first meeting since. They did not play each other in the COVID season of last year.
Absolutely. And looking ahead to the rest of the Yorks games, they play at home. First home game of the season next week versus Morton. Then they have 2 road affairs in a row. You see Wilson rolling out, looking to make something happen. He is so elusive. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my
man.
God. Wow.
He broke about 10 tackles on that one run.
Fitzgerald
almost got it all back for the Saxons there.
Rightfully frustrated. See a lot of booing. They wanted a better spot of the football. It will be 4th and very short here. That was just, oh no, the call is changed.
They're giving him the first down.
And that's a Saxon first down. I'll tell you what, when I saw he was tucking it down and running, I was shocked. I thought this was not going to work out. It did just that. The first quarter's coming to a close. Saxons with no intention of calling another play before the end of the quarter. Duke's on top 7-0. That was an absolutely electric play by DeJounte Wilson.
Great way to end the quarter. You heard the reaction from the crowd.
And you know, they say the quarterback is the most important position in sports. He just absolutely put his team on his back. He dodged at least 6 Dukes defenders there.
Literally put him on the back.
That was
put his team on his back.
unreal. Before the second quarter gets underway, Gavin taking a step away from the high school football field, a step onto the NFL field. A lot of quarterbacks selected in the first round of this year's NFL draft. Of course, one of them being Chicago Bears' Justin Fields. It's reported that he was going to be starting this week's Week 3 preseason matchup. A lot of Bears fans wanting to see him get into action as soon as possible. I just want to hear, do you think the right decision is to send the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, out there? Or do you think it's Justin Fields' time? He should get right in there from the get-go. He's ready to go from Ohio State.
See, I really think the move is to start Dalton. You saw what happened with Trubisky. There's a lot of talk that he was started too early, and that the main reason that he came in was just that Mike Glennon was just so bad, and Trubisky really didn't win the job. So I really, really do not want Payson Nagy to screw this up again. Like, this is a generational talent that the Bears are dealing with.
Everyone's generational nowadays, Gavin.
The entire city of Chicago is
all I will
hoping.
say is that the majority of Bears fans, from what I've been hearing, I'm not a Bears fan myself, the majority of Bears fans want to see Fields in on the action. And I have to say, Gavin, I see both sides of the story. If we see Dalton under center, there's going to be a lot of talk that it's just to save Payson Nagy's job. They're buying themselves time. But they've done a lot of time buying. They gave themselves 4 years with the Trubisky experiment, whatever you want to call it, didn't work out. Now,
not at all.
Justin Fields is picked, looking to save both of their jobs. If this is the guy you're so confident in that you traded up, it would almost make sense to start him. I could see both sides of the argument. Nevertheless, just glad that my New York Jets ended up with Zach Wilson. He'll be the day one starter.
Yeah.
Not to be mistaken for DeJounte Wilson out here. And that's a great run. Picks up about half the yardage needed. Second quarter is now underway.
Starting off with an inside run to Williams.
They're continuing with that no huddle. It seems like that's what they think's been giving the Dukes problems, and maybe so. Another first down for the Saxons. Now past the 30-yard line.
Back-to-back inside runs to Najari Williams, and the Saxons are knocking on the door here. What we thought was going to be a third straight 3-and-out has turned out to be a great drive from Schaumburg.
Absolutely, and a lot of that is to do with the guys up front. Williams has had his way this entire drive, and really I would say Wilson's had a lot of time in the pocket as well. Wilson drops back looking to throw. He has his man, throws it on a spot. Very minuscule pickup right there from the Saxons. You know, while we have this time in between plays, just wanted to give a shout out to everybody here. Jake Reishus on the camera, Jack Borchers on the switcher, all sorts of people at YSN. Big shout out to everyone who was in it last year, helping to support. Big thanks to Mr. Wagner, Mr. Chambers, everyone who helps make this thing special. It's awesome. It really is. Option to slow it down here. No more no huddle. They need a breather. They've done that motion in the backfield so often. And the terminology for that is a peak, an RPO peak. So he has the option to hand it off. He has the option to keep it himself. He has the option to throw it to the guy behind him. And often that's a quarterback-friendly play. A lot of the times that gives the quarterback the time to slow it down and do what he wants. But Wilson has really struggled with that motion in the backfield. It seems as though whenever that happens, he struggles to make the read and either gives it to the running back when it's unnecessary or pitches it when he doesn't need to. So do they continue to stick with that, Gavin? Do they turn away from it, and it looks like they go for a screen on the third down here? Down the sideline, a couple missed tackles. Oh, my goodness, that's a touchdown.
And just like that, the Saxons strike back. We're an extra point away from this game being tied.
Wow. I'll tell you what, when I saw that play call, I was a bit disappointed. I didn't think that was what was going to work out.
I'm sure the Dukes are disappointed as well.
But head coach,
they did not. The wide receiver did not have to work very hard for that touchdown.
Head coach Mark Stilling clearly saw something he liked. He drew it up. It worked. There was a reason they didn't run no huddle there on that play. He saw something he liked, executed it to a T, and got the Saxons right back into this ball game. And as you said, an extra point away from locking the game up at 7.
Extra point on the way.
Right through the uprights. This game is all tied up.
Puts the pressure right back on the Dukes. Let's see how the offense comes out.
Absolutely. Do they continue to run the football? Do they rely more on the pass? So far, when they've relied on the deep pass, both times it's been the wide receiver, number 11, who typically plays on the outside, Jack Wagner. Both times it's been incomplete. Who knows? Maybe they mix it up. Maybe they continue with more of the same, that when they get into the red zone, that's when they like to take their shots. But it will be interesting. Maybe we'll see a little bit from Kelly Watson. I've been excited to see him get out there.
Absolutely.
This entire Dukes team is exciting this season. We may see the first playoff berth in over a decade, Gavin.
That would be great. I mean, it's been a long time coming for the Dukes. When I was a middle schooler, elementary schooler, I mean, it was a celebration if the Dukes won a game. Like, there were a few winless seasons. And now that Fitzgerald has these guys talking about the playoffs, it just brings a lot of excitement to the town.
So many York athletics trending in the right direction, one of which, of course, being the Dukes here on the field, the football team. I 100% agree. It used to be hard to come by a win. Now there's a lot of hype generating that the Dukes could walk away with a potential playoff ceiling victory against OPRF in Week 9. And speaking of the schedule, I was kind of touching on it earlier. The Dukes are at home versus Morton, first home football game with fans in a very long time this upcoming Friday. Then they are on a 2-game road stretch at Proviso West and at DGN. Come back at home to play LT, one of the biggest rivalries in the conference. That will be absolutely just so phenomenal to watch from the bleachers. Then we go back at Glenbard West. That will be an extremely tough game, ranked in the state of Illinois. They have some very, very phenomenal athletic programs over there. I mean, even the basketball
they're
team.
always top in the state.
Braden Huff over there,
top in the country.
Special. Top in the hills, the Hilltoppers. Then we are at home versus Hinsdale Central, another tough outing. At Willowbrook, and finishing the season at home with a potential playoff berth against the Oak Park River Forest football team.
Those last 5 games will really show what the Dukes are made of.
And no better way to get started than hot. They go for the squib kick. A lot of trickery on the kickoffs from both of these teams. Oh, my goodness, was not the correct decision.
Did not work out for them. Great field position for the Dukes, starting on their own 40.
Absolutely. More of the same. The Duke starters trot out on the offensive side. Excited to see what they could get going here.
Watson in the backfield to start this drive.
Yeah,
haven't seen much of him.
Right off the bat, they do the give to Watson. Watson so shifty, so fast.
That change of direction is really one of his best attributes. You saw there the quick cut back to the outside helped him find some extra yardage. Duke setting up quickly.
Both teams opting for a lot of no-huddle action here tonight. Another give to Watson, and that one he is bumbling, stumbling, rumbling, whatever you want to say. Another first down for the Dukes.
Burst of speed up the middle.
Has worked so well tonight.
Absolutely. It's definitely made it a lot easier on Doherty. His first game as a starter, having not one but two running backs that can give you a lot of production. So nice. Going to make the transition much easier.
This time the give to Watson is a lot less successful. Looks to be about a gain of 1. We'll bring up about a 2nd and 9 here for the Saxons with 9:05 to go in the second quarter. This game's all locked up at 7-7 if you're just tuning in. Both teams really, really grounding and pounding so far. Oh, we've seen a lot of smash mouth, old-fashioned football. Doherty lined up in the shotgun, potentially a pass, and it is. Doherty drops back. It is a one-read play. They knew what they wanted, and they got it. Caught. End zone. Jack Wagner.
Charlie Specht.
Charlie Specht.
And the teammates are going wild.
You know, that was so beautiful. I don't know if you saw what was happening on the far side over there. Jack Wagner put a move on that safety. The safety bites. That play was clearly scripted. That was beautiful.
Absolutely, yeah.
Doherty clearly knew who he wanted. He stuck to his first read the entire time. Both the receivers on the outside put on a great move. The Saxons guess run. It doesn't work.
Not at all. And just a simple fly route. You said the safety bit for Wagner, and it was nothing but room for Charlie Specht. Doherty with a beautiful dot to the end zone. Duke's back on top.
The kick is up, and it is good. 14-7 Duke. Saxons will have to answer, and they'll have to do it in a lot more clean of a fashion this time. You don't want to be relying on 3rd and 15 runs from your quarterback every time. But I will say, DeJounte Wilson has looked to be a freak of an athlete so far.
He has, yeah.
It's all
We've seen his running ability as well.
Absolutely. It's all about if they could get the passing game started, though. You just saw now that the floodgates are open for the Dukes. Are they going to go deep? Are they going to run the play action? Are they doing RPOs? Every play is an option after they just dusted them deep there. First touchdown of the season passing for Doherty goes to Charlie Specht. It was drawn up perfectly. It really
drawn
was.
Up perfectly.
They knew the Saxons were guessing run. Doherty didn't even have to survey the field. He knew who he was going to. It was a beautiful.
And we've seen from the Dukes, once they get inside the 35-yard line, all 3 drives now, Doherty's taken a shot to the end zone. The first 2 were unsuccessful to Jack Wagner, and this time a perfect pass to Charlie Specht, and Duke's got the touchdown. Shot worked. And this crowd has gone dead quiet. The fans seem to be getting into it, and all of a sudden, that quick drive from the Dukes really seemed to suck the life out of them.
And that's one of the most underrated factors in any sport is the momentum swings provided by the fans. Make sure, whether you attend Duke, you attend the York Dukes, you just support them, whatever the case may be. Week 2 against Morton, I highly recommend showing up. That kick is bobbled but quickly recovered. Surmounts to about the 20, 25-yard line.
No damage done on that kick return.
Schaumburg with a fresh set of downs. The Dukes really have had a scoring opportunity every single one of their offensive possessions. The Saxons cannot say the same. Other than that last possession, they did have 2 straight 3-and-outs. We have to see what Saxons team we're going to see out there on this drive, because they received the ball to start the game, and this could start getting out of hand if they let the Dukes get another point on the board before they do.
Yeah, and expect to see some more trickery, trying to use the Dukes' aggressiveness against them. We've seen a lot of pre-snap motion, some tosses to the outside, the screen pass that went for the long touchdown.
Absolutely.
And already right there.
Just as you said, a lot of motion. That is just absolutely clobbered. But this is a very QB-friendly offense that the Saxons run. A lot of RPOs, a lot of motion. Reminds me a lot of the Shanahan system that you see at the NFL level that's worked so well. It's produced so many head coaches. You see Mike LaFleur for the Packers. It's unreal. Matt LaFleur, Mike LaFleur, both Harbaughs. Everyone has learned the Shanahan system. It's pretty much been picked up as just the base system. Any way you can make the game easier for your quarterback, you should do it. And the Saxons are doing so here. He drops back to pass.
And that is
caught, but there's a flag thrown. There is a flag in the backfield.
And Wilson is hurt. He is down. He is down, and he is holding his leg.
He is holding his leg. Oh, no.
And that is the last thing you want to see if you're a Saxon fan.
Either way, that's the last thing you want to see. You don't want to see any player get hurt. He's holding his leg. It looks like trainers are attending to it, straightening it out. Let's see here. This would be an absolutely fatal hit to the Saxons this early in the season. Especially, you got to feel for DeJounte Williams. It's his senior year, 6'3", 183, number 10 out there, holding his leg. Your Sports Network will be right back after we get word on what has happened. Whether it's a good sign or not, Wilson is able to walk off under his own power. Absolutely brutal hit. That did not look good. I'm not a medical expert. That is not a way you want to see a leg move.
Thankfully, he was able to get up. We're back to the action now.
Second and 25, so it was a roughing the passer call, which makes it that much more brutal that it was deemed a dirty hit. That run is pretty much stuffed up for no gain. Najari Williams there. It's now third and 25, and my bad, that was not a roughing the passer call.
No,
I think they called
that would have been a first down
right,
for the
so
Saxons.
I believe that they were trying to protect Wilson there. Just didn't work out. Wilson's on the sideline, and in comes number 5, Joseph Macaluso.
We get to see him for the first time, first pass, and that appears to be.
It is caught, but very well short of the first down. And this gives the Dukes a chance to get some serious momentum here.
Absolutely. The difference between a 1-touchdown game and a 2-touchdown game is huge, especially on the high school football level. Let's see if the Dukes can capitalize. They'll get good field position as well.
Punting from deep inside their own zone on a 4th and 13 here. The Saxons really need to limit the damage before the first half.
Fumbled
get themselves
snap.
Together. Fair catch called for and made. A bit short of the 45-yard line. Dukes once again winning the field position battle. Out-trops the offense, and they've had their way so far today.
outtrots Doherty under center, and limited passing production. But when he's thrown the ball, he has looked good. A few missed targets, but overall, he had that one long pass to Speck. Let's see if we can see more passing action from him.
Absolutely no complaints. First play is a screen to Watson. Watson's been getting himself involved, breaks a few tackles. Kelly Watson down the sideline.
How about that tiptoe?
You know, they say all the time, making something out of nothing. That was the definition of it.
That looked like it was going to be nothing.
It looked
Made
like
two guys missed at the line of scrimmage.
Of maybe 2 yards. And that is why Watson is so great. This duel of Kelly Watson and Mark Schneider is going to be so, and I mean so electric this year.
Exactly.
Doherty once again in the shotgun. Fitzgerald loves to run him in the shotgun here. Give him some time to survey the field if necessary and keep the Saxons on their heels regarding a run play. A lot of motion pre-snap. And they give it to the running back. Saxons gas jet sweep. That's a broken tackle. He's down the sideline.
This two-back set, having Watson and Schneider on the field, is really causing some problems for the Saxons on the defensive end. And that's two electric plays for the Dukes.
That's my absolutely favorite formation for the Dukes. That's that power formation with Watson and Schneider out there. As you mentioned, it has given the Saxons a hard time. Oh, Doherty drops the snap, falls right on it. Still, you don't want to start yourself. Just making the drive harder.
Yep. I'm sure Fitzgerald, he's not happy with that, that's for sure. Smart by Doherty to make the safe play and just jump on it.
You know, when you can make the game easier for yourself, why not do so? Was smart to fall on it, but now Duke set up with a second and about 15.
Motion from Watson, they give it to him.
Kelly Watson trying to make something happen. Able to fall forward. He's so great at doing that. Cuts a little bit off the chunk here for the third down. Just under 5 minutes, 30 seconds to go. If you're just tuning in, the Dukes are already on top 14-7, but the storyline of this game so far, of course, falls down to the fact that DeJounte Wilson was down and grabbing that leg. Hopes and condolences to him, hoping he'll be able to make a speedy recovery. Saxons now have a new quarterback under center, Joseph Macaluso, I was just informed. He's only a junior out there on varsity. Will be interesting to see. But the Dukes with a very important 3rd and 9 of their own. Doherty in the shotgun looking to make something happen. They let the play clock run all the way down to 1 and call a timeout. Coach Fitzgerald's second timeout call to the half. 1 remaining for the Dukes. Dukes on top 14-7. York Sports Network will take a little timeout of their own. We'll be right back after this break. The timeout has commenced. The fans are loud, and the Dukes are back. 3rd and 9. Dukes already on top 14-7. They've missed a field goal in this game. Would like to get a first down here if possible, of course. See Wagner lined up with what seems to be one-on-one coverage on the outside. They might test him on a corner route, but Doherty's looking the other way. Doherty zips it to the end zone. Just off the mark there.
He had his man. That was tight end Emmett Horn. He was the intended receiver. Just out of his reach. So it'll be 4th and 9 for the Dukes.
As you mentioned, he did have a bit of a window there to Horn, just fired it a bit too early and a bit too far. That leads to the Dukes having to go back to Max the Leg Hansman to try to get themselves a 10-point, 2-possession lead. Colin Doherty, the holder out there, not something you see too often traditionally, it's not too often that you see the starting quarterback as the holder. Maybe they'll try some trickery, or maybe he's just the best man for the job. But typically, you will see the backup out there holding the football for the kick. Hansman capitalizes, makes up for that miss earlier. Duke's now on top by 2 possessions, and all of a sudden, Joseph Macaluso has been slung into a position that I can say pretty firmly I do not envy. He needs to lead this team down the field with 4:41 to go, give them something to be excited about at half.
Exactly. You also have to feel for Wilson as well. This is the first game at home in front of your students, and energy running high, and to see an injury, to have an injury happen on you in the second quarter of your first game under the lights is just so disheartening. But we will see how Macaluso will answer the call.
Yes, we will. Appreciate everyone who's here for the ride. Macaluso is wearing number 5 alongside running back Najari Williams, who wears number 7 for any onlookers wondering.
Not the touchdown the Dukes were hoping for, but points are points nonetheless, extending the lead to 10 with 4:41 to go. Ball back to the Saxons. Who knows, maybe even more points for the Dukes.
And the Dukes have made it very easy on themselves to put those points on the board. The offense has not been asked to do too much. They've been winning the possession battle all game. They've been winning the field battle all game. The Dukes have been winning on many assets, and a lot of that is really due to this defense. As we've been mentioning all night, this defense has been bottling up the Saxons. Other than that one outlier drive, they've had a hard time. A lot of that, of course, is due to what's been going on up front. Nolan Korzenowski last season, 26 tackles, 13 of those by himself, 13 of those assisted, and 5 tackles for a loss. I could say I think I already have him down for 2 tackles for a loss tonight. Huge start for the defense led by Korzenowski, Snyder, all sorts of guys out there. Naraki with the big play. Dukes are looking very sharp, well-oiled machine, and they'll look to continue to do so with 4:41 to go in the first half. Fielded cleanly. A little bit of room to run there. Gets it to about the 30-yard line.
And he got lit up, stopped right in his tracks.
Yes, he did.
And you mentioned the defense earlier. A lot of veterans on this team, a lot of returning seniors, and you can really see that veteranship and just
veteranship.
Exactly. Veteran experience is the word I'm looking for. Veteranship and experience. You can really see these experienced Dukes. Guys like Naraki, guys like Everett Snyder. And, yeah, you can see their smarts and instincts really come into play tonight.
Absolutely. Here come the Saxons. 1st and 10. First full drive with the new guy under center. Starts off fairly well with the good give up the middle. Picks up about 5. That's Sam Varzino stuffing it up the middle. There are so many seniors on this Dukes front 7, and they all have had their names called tonight. Another give up the middle, this time not as successful. The Dukes stowed them, and they forced the 3rd down. I have to say, I'm very glad to see the amount of Dukes fans that showed up tonight, Gavin. I think you'd agree. A lot of Dukes fans in these stands.
Absolutely. You see a lot of kids from the sophomore team as well making some noise. They had a big victory over the Saxons. To say it was a trouncing was be an understatement. And they're still sticking around for the varsity game, making some noise.
Of course, the shutout, always something you like to see. That coupled with 47 points of your own, and it is bound to be successful. They go with the screen on 3rd down, breaks a tackle, but it won't matter.
Nothing.
I have to say, I can't be one to question, but at the end of the day, I have a hard time seeing why the play call there was a screen with no blockers on a 3rd and 6. When you're down by 10, risks need to be taken. That was the opposite of that. I get that you want to get Macaluso comfortable under the gun. But you have to have confidence in your guys. It clearly wasn't shown there, and it leads to another punt for the Saxons, which we've seen a lot today.
Absolutely. You mentioned the quarterback-friendly offense that was being called by the Saxons, and you'd expect to see even more so now that the backup is in.
Timeout called. York Sports Network will take a timeout of their own. We will be right back after this timeout by the Schaumburg Saxons. And we're back. Oh, that kick is blocked and picked up. He's going the other way. Touchdown, Dukes. Are you kidding me?
What a play.
The entire Dukes team is swarming. Oh, my goodness. Jeffrey Coglianese. We mentioned him earlier. Huge block and recovery. He did it all himself. Oh, my goodness. That was electric.
We've seen some kind of special teams errors from the Saxons earlier today. We're not punished by it, but Coglianese, thank you. Really made him pay the price that time. Duke's extending the lead. More points before halftime.
My goodness.
Not much has gone right for the Saxons these last few drives.
Shock and awe has hit this Saxons crowd. You could hear a needle drop on that side of the sideline. This game is quickly getting out of hand. They have a fumbled snap of their own. Maybe that is why you have Doherty in there. Needs to make an attempt. Extra point attempts, no good. Not something you see too often, but nevertheless, just an absolutely explosive play.
You know, I don't think anybody on the York bench even saw that extra point. They were too busy congratulating him.
Absolutely. That was just a one-man show, and a good one at that. Keeps the York Dukes offense off the field, gives them even more time to rest prior to the half, and more importantly, it makes this new quarterback go right back out there for the Saxons and prove that what just happened was a fluke. 23-7, Gavin. 23-7. That is a great start for the Dukes to this season. I've loved everything I've seen. I really
16
have.
unanswered points since the Saxons scored their last touchdown. Exactly the response you were looking to see. They did get a little bit of help from the injury, which was extremely unfortunate. But, I mean, if the Dukes can respond like this every time their opponent scores a touchdown, man, that's nothing but good stuff for.
Dukes quickly kicking it off again to the Saxons. Saxons have been forced to have their offense on the field whenever it's out there, and it's not been too successful. I'm sure we'll get word on DeJounte Wilson at halftime. I'll make sure to do some reporting there. But as of right now, it looks like they're going to be rolling with Joseph Macaluso for the rest of the game. And so far, that offense under Macaluso's call has not looked too sharp.
And expect to see an even bigger load from Najari Williams. Had some carries, quite a bit of carries.
Absolutely.
In his first half.
They're already going with the ground and pound. Expect to see it even more. Head coach Mark Stilling of the Saxons is put in a very hard position here, opening up at home, trying to give these fans a reason to come out every single Friday. And all of a sudden, he has a junior under center who he wasn't prepared to start. A lot has gone wrong for the Saxons. A
Absolutely.
lot. But the game is far from over. Back. Dukes on top, 23-7. And it's now 2nd and 15 for the Saxons.
While you were away, there was a delay of game penalty called on the Saxons.
Everything that has gone wrong for them in this first half, everything that could have gone wrong has. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Veteranship. Veteranship. But here come the Saxons, 2nd and 15. They need to start airing out this football, but it gets to the point where you have to wonder, you really have to wonder how much longer they could air out the football, because that stops the clock, and it looks like that's what they're getting to. They don't want to let the Dukes get any more points on the board, but you don't want it to get out of hand.
Not at all.
You got to play every kind of game here. I mean, you could go back and forth all day. Do you put the points on the board yourself? Do you try to prevent the Dukes from scoring again before half? Because if the Dukes do score again before half, they put themselves in quite the hole.
You know, my guess is that, 1:20 on the clock. My guess is that they just try and run out the clock, get to halftime, get to the locker room, fresh start in the second half. Don't put yourself in an even bigger hole. See here, running out the play clock.
No, they do drop back to pass.
And he is sacked.
Demolished, and the ball's out. Who is on that football? The Saxons come up with it.
Saxons, they do.
That is
There was like a 12-man dog pile.
That is a massive, and I mean massive, recovery from sophomore. You heard that right, sophomore Daniel Ukserzik. I hope I said that name correctly. It's a hard one to pronounce. But Ukserzik with a huge recovery. That could have spelled real mayhem for the Saxons.
I almost spoke way too soon.
I could see why. It seemed like the Dukes were going to get there first, but the Saxons recovered. They have a 4th and 12 of their own, likely going to punt it away to the Dukes, give them one last chance here before half to make something happen. This Dukes defense is so explosive. They're
really explosive. Right when you seem to think that maybe they're getting a little tired. They're kind of getting pushed around a little bit. Bang. Big play after big play.
They make sure that thought never
Whether
crosses
it's a big
your head.
sack, we saw a blocked punt, just big, smart tackles for loss. The Dukes can do anything.
They really can. This might be the Dukes' year. I can't believe I'm saying this. They have looked so sharp tonight against the Saxons. We're not even through one half of football. We're already talking about the playoffs. But it never hurts to be excited, and it never hurts to get the word out there that Dukes football is back under Coach Fitzgerald. And they look to show so here on this punt return. And honestly, potentially more points on the board.
More points. You see receiver Brian Grant lining up on the Saxons' 47-yard line. So great field position. We'll see if Coach Fitz tries to get more points.
You see Coglianese obviously out there again after that block. Oh my goodness, a bobbled snap and a botched punt.
I am surprised that didn't get blocked.
That could have been disaster. Clearly heard the footsteps, worried about what happened last time with Coglianese. Somehow recovers all the credit in the world there, because that could have been a disaster.
And the Schaumburg punter has really had a tough night.
The crazy thing is that I have to say that really did work out for them. It ran 10 seconds off the clock.
It did.
It put the Dukes where they likely would have been pinned regardless. But you're right. He's had a lot of bobbled snaps. He's had the one blocked. That one really, as you said, I'm shocked wasn't blocked. They were in the backfield. They were all over it. And now the Dukes set off at about the 50-yard line with the chance to score some more points. Put some points on the board. Why not? Doherty drops back under center. He's going to keep it himself. One middle linebacker to beat.
That is actually Matt Veza,
you're right,
the junior under center. He is getting some snaps with the clock winding down.
Right. From up here, I just kind of assumed it was going to be the Doherty show for the rest of the night, but it has been a quarterback battle throughout camp, and why not? With the 16-point lead, put Junior Veza in the game and see what he could do. He has a lot of time to throw there. Has a guy and hits him. Veza hits his guy inside the 20, 11.3 to go. Instantly called the timeout by the Dukes. Huge play.
How about that? Emmett Horn with the big grab. Veza making his presence heard.
And there is a problem.
There's the running clock. They left the clock running when the Dukes called a timeout. They're going to get that worked out right now.
Yes, they will. Thank goodness they have York Sports Network to look back at there. But anywho, huge play from Veza. He gets in the game, makes himself heard, and really I'm going to give 100%, you heard me right, 100% of the credit to that play to the offensive line. Veza had all the time in the world. He was flat-footed in the pocket, which I'll tell you what, when that happens, normally it's a recipe for success. He had at least 4 seconds to throw, and he had plenty of more time. 3 pancakes on the offensive line there, just absolutely beautiful, and it leads to the Dukes likely getting more points on the board here before half.
And it is such a luxury to have an offensive line that allows you to run these long developing pass plays. I mean, Horn was like 25 yards down the field, and there was no defender in sight.
Hold on, are they not fixing the clock? Oh, there it goes. The whistle to play dead. It was at 6.4. The Dukes were ready to run their play. The clock management was not. A lot of confusion here.
A lot of confusion these last 10 seconds.
Clock went from 11 to 10.1, back down to 6.4. Now it looks like they've decided on 10.1. That was the time that the clock should be at. Now here comes Matt Veza. Matt Veza once again, all the time in the world. He's going to keep it himself. 5 seconds, 4 seconds, to the end zone. Matt Veza. It is very close, and they call him down inches before the goal line.
That would have been a fairy tale ending for this first half for the Dukes.
And that was a much-needed stop from the Saxons. They stopped the bleeding. They stopped the damage. I'll tell you what, Matt Veza, very impressed by what I saw from him other than that last play. You know you've used all 3 timeouts. You have to have better awareness. Yes, you can make a break for the end zone, but you have to stay close to the sideline. The Dukes really, no matter what, should have left with 3 points from that drive. Somehow leave empty-handed. And although the Dukes are certainly the favorite to win at this point, no one's denying that. When you could get points on the board, you do so.
It's a game of inches.
Veza has stopped, as you said, inches from the goal line. Nonetheless, nothing to be down about. The York Dukes are on top 23-7. We will be back after this 15-minute halftime intermission. York Dukes on top. York Sports Network, your place for all York sports. We'll be right back. AJ Swiatek, Gavin, Connolly taking a short break. We'll be right back after this. And we are back. York Sports Network here. Just under a minute to go in this halftime period. The Dukes are on top 23-7 over the Schaumburg Saxons in what has been an absolute routing so far. Had the chance to put even more points on the board before half, but stopped literally inches from the end zone was junior backup quarterback Matt Vezek. He came in to end the half. That will be a storyline here. Will he continue to play for the rest of this game, or will they roll back with Doherty? Was that just an experiment? Time will tell. Duke's already out here warming up. Schaumburg Saxons still getting onto the field. Here we go. 23 seconds to go, Gavin. That first half was obviously dominated by the Dukes, and I'm very happy to say that. But nonetheless, we have to cover both sides. What do the Saxons have to do to not only get themselves back in this game, but do so competitively and efficiently?
Well, they have to be smart. Now that they have the backup quarterback, they really are left in a real hole in terms of offensive play calling. So I think definitely feed the running back, Najari Wilson, even more. And again, you saw some of the trick plays that they were working, pre-snap motion, trying to get the Dukes to spread out. That seems to be working on their one touchdown drive. So expect to see more of that. But, the Dukes have been relentless on defense. So the Saxons need to use the Dukes' aggressiveness against them even more and keep the Dukes off the scoreboard. And no more self-enforced errors.
Absolutely, and that will be hard to do. We saw Mark Schneider on 12 rushes in the first half, rush for 83 yards. Absolute efficient runner out there, getting nearly 4 yards, he's getting close. He's getting in between 7 and 8 yards a carry, which is just unreal. And then you look over at Kelly Watson. He only had 5 carries, but he did pick up 25 yards, and both Duke's running backs, Gavin, have been so efficient and great. That's what the Saxons need to be able to find, but it's so hard to do against this York Dukes defense, as you already mentioned.
Absolutely. These Dukes running this two-back set with both Watson and Schneider has been lethal. Watson with his ability to change direction really fast, and Schneider with just his pure power downhill running. It's a dangerous combination, and we'll see it even more in the second half.
Duke starting inside their own territory and deep in it. Not something they've had to do often here tonight. It'll be interesting to see how they function from this deep in their zone. First give goes for a minimal gain, as it does look like they continue to roll with Matt Vezza out there at the quarterback position, something that would be interesting to watch. They've seen enough from Doherty. He did his job. Time to see what the junior Vezza could do. I really could see this happening a lot during the season, the switch at the half.
Yeah, you also got to keep in mind, you wonder if the injury from DeJounte Wilson may have impacted Fitz's decision to bring in Vezza. He sees their starting quarterback go down, the Saxon starting quarterback go down with a bad injury. He's like, we don't want this to happen to our guy, Doherty.
And there's a sack. And finally, the Saxons have some energy. Wow.
A turning point.
Major turning point. This will be massive. Regardless, the Saxons should get points on the board, but now we will see what the offense could do from the red zone. This isn't something we've been able to see once this game.
Not
the only offense came outside of the red zone. First time here so far. And, of course, it will likely be with junior quarterback Joseph Macaluso. We tried to get an upgrade on the stud athlete DeJounte Wilson. No one was willing to give us that information.
Nope.
So, albeit we cannot definitively say what the injury is, I doubt that anyone can at this point. MRIs will likely be following. Hold on. Is that DeJounte Wilson out there?
That is out. That is him, the man himself.
Maybe
Speak
that's
no
why we
more
couldn't
about the injury confusion.
Maybe that's why we couldn't get an update, because they didn't want any sort of word getting out that Wilson would be back out there. And all of a sudden, I'll tell you what, it feels like all the momentum's directly in the red corner for the Saxons. They are in the red zone with their primary starting quarterback back from injury coming out of the half. All of a sudden, the momentum is going their way. But can they capitalize on it? That is the question, Gavin. And they will look to throw. No, Wilson
takes it and dives, just gets a couple.
Makes it a little easier for himself. For someone who just came off the field injured, it's great to see him.
He's slow to get up now. He was just slow to get up, had to get some help from his teammates. Interesting that he decided to take a hit.
I was going to say,
and take off and run with it.
For his confidence, at least, it's great to see that he's going out there and still being consistently able to run, which made me think he wouldn't be slow to get up, but he still was. Surprised they're leaving him out there, but I guess what they're going by is just if your best players can play, keep him on the field, and certainly from what we've seen so far, he is their best option at the quarterback position.
Absolutely. It says a lot about this kid as well.
Oh, yes, it does. The motion they love to do. Huge 3rd and 4. They give it to the running back. Absolutely stuffed.
Williams going nowhere on that 3rd down run.
Gavin, not that our opinions mean much, because I'm sure that Coach Stilling is not thinking, what is YSN saying? It's 4th and 4. You're down by 16. Is this a situation in the red zone where you go for it? You try to keep all the momentum swinging your way?
I think you go for it. It's been a struggle to get to the red zone, so having these opportunities are not going to come very often. They're sticking out. They're staying out on the field right now. And I think that's the right decision.
Could potentially be a hard snap. Maybe they will call the play. I don't know. Personally, I could see the argument for a field goal. It's the safer route, and it gives you a 2-possession game, which is something that they would love to have in their back pocket right now. 2 touchdowns.
The play clock runs out.
Lead. And yes, it does look like they were just going for the hard count. They will go back out there with the field goal unit. I personally think this is the right decision. I've watched enough Jets football with Adam Gase play calling to see what happens when you decide to run it up the gun on 4th and 4. I have seen enough of it, and I personally, yes, Adam Gase was the play caller, but from the small sample size I've witnessed, most of the time when you can make it a 2-possession game and keep all the momentum your way, you should do so. Momentum definitely dying down a bit by not going for it on 4th, but nonetheless, imagine this Duke's crowd right now if they got to stop on 4th and 4.
Yeah, that is true.
The entire game swings. You got to get yourself on the board, capitalize on the huge strip sack that just happened, and it looks like that's what they'll do. Saxons likely lining up to kick a field goal. We will see right after this timeout called by the Saxons. And they call a timeout, it appears, to make an adjustment because they're going for it on 4th down.
We'll see how this plays out.
That we will. Wanted to fake the give it almost, and he gave it. The ball's out. And who is on it? It looks like the Dukes are pretty confident they have it. Nevertheless, that likely would have been a stop on 4th down. The Dukes do end up with the football deep in their own zone. And, Gavin, that's exactly what I just hit on. Now you're still down 16. That is why I think you take the points when you could get them, especially with an injured quarterback. But they go for it all. As I said, a 4th and 4 draw. Not to my own horn, kind of called that one there. Yeah. Didn't work out. And now it's
sloppy though. Sloppy from the Saxons.
Sloppy.
A lot. Self-enforced errors I mentioned at halftime. They come out there, and on a huge 4th down, a tough handoff that gets bobbled, and the Dukes have possession.
Veza with the give. Doesn't surmount to much. That was to Kelly Watson. Both running backs with very efficient first halves, but the receivers possibly getting overlooked, still having a great game. Speck with the huge, and I mean huge. That was the changing point of the game, was that deep touchdown to him.
100%. It marked the beginning of a 16-0 run for the Dukes in the 2nd quarter. And a deep ball here. Speaking of Speck.
Oh, my goodness.
A big catch down the sideline.
What a play. That is one of those where Veza clearly just trusted his guy more than the opposing DB, gave him his one-on-one ball, trusted the possession with him, and got a huge chunk play, and all of a sudden, the momentum is totally in the green and white corner.
And we've seen Speck win a few of these one-on-one battles, had the big touchdown where he completely burned the defensive back, got some more separation on that big play.
Absolutely. Veza, first option isn't there. He keeps looking him down. That is not what you want to see. Ends up throwing the check down for about a loss of 1. You know, if you watch Veza's eye on that play, He clearly, and I mean clearly, had his guy he wanted to go to, continually stared him down. He didn't get open. You've got to survey your reads there. He had receivers across the field, only stared down one, didn't work out. But very, very big drive here coming up for the Dukes right around midfield. 2nd and 10. This time they'll give it to Watson. He's going in the wrong direction, able to turn upfield a bit, but it looks like another play for no gain. We just got word from our statistician, Veza has had 2 very big chunk plays so far, in case you haven't tuned in, both of which were for 40 yards. Very impressive. Not saying that's the total airtime, but still, both of the Dukes' biggest yardage plays have came with Veza under center. All of a sudden, a new spark that wasn't even necessarily necessary, but it is working. And the Dukes seem to have a very good duo at both running back and quarterback this season.
That's great to see.
Now it's Veza dropping back. Ever since he's came in the game, they've wanted to throw it more. He is going deep downfield. That ball is nearly intercepted.
Had all day in the pocket. A little too much air under that one.
That ball likely should have been intercepted.
That should have.
4th and 10. The Dukes bring out the punting unit, looking to pin them inside their 10. Saxons have had a hard time picking up a first down period. It'll be even harder picking up a string of them to get them even further down the field. So a big punt here would be massive. And here comes the punt. They let it bounce, and it's the wrong decision. Just what the doctor ordered for the Dukes. They down it at what seems to be the 15-yard line. And they're making this game as hard as possible for the Saxons.
Going to be a long drive for the Saxons. We'll see if Wilson can lead them. What appears to be about 85 yards. An 85-yard drive, it would be a tremendous achievement for a high school football team. Gonna have to summon his inner Zach
Wilson, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
This will be what you said is very true. It's hard enough to pick up an 85-yard drive on any level. It's even harder when the momentum's going the wrong way in a high school football game where you've had a hard time passing the ball all night. If they could do this here, it will certainly shift the momentum and really show that they are still absolutely in this football game, but that's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see when kind of some desperation or some panic hits into the Saxon offense. You know, eventually time's going to run out, and so we should expect to see more like risks and chances taken in the second half.
That's actually exactly what I was just going to say, Gavin. They have stuck to the scripted plan. The Saxons have a scripted plan, and they want to stick to it. They like these RPOs. They like these little pickups. They clearly saw something the last time they played York in 2019 that made them feel this was the right way to go against them. They wanted to play the dink and dunk game. But eventually, you have to turn from the game plan. It's all about changing throughout the game. That's what great coaches do. And if Stilling wants to cement himself among the greats in the area, they're going to have to change this game plan. The RPOs are not working. The dumps are not getting more than the yard. It's time to air the football out and stop with these little motions in the backfield. There is a flag and a huge tackle. Yet again, the RPO just does not work. They're setting themselves up for third downs. I don't understand it.
I don't understand it either. You see, the Dukes have made their adjustments on defense. If the Dukes give up a 15-yard play on like a running back screen, the next time there's a running back screen, the Dukes eat it up.
Right.
And the Saxons have not made adjustments to these adjustments. Like exactly what you said. Sticking to the script, not really changing it up. And if this is the way it's going to be, expect to see the Dukes just destroy these offensive possessions from the Saxons.
I know I already mentioned it once, but this play calling is just so reminiscent of Adam Gase. He loved to run the ball. He loved this quote-unquote quarterback guru offense that keeps it easy for the quarterback. But all of a sudden, you consistently see them failing to change the script. We need to see a throw here for more than 10 yards. Get the ball in the air. Here comes Wilson rolling out. He wants to keep it himself. He's done that a few times tonight. Gets near the first down.
No, I don't think that's going to be enough.
It's not going to be enough. At this point, do you go for it from your own zone? I think it's time to bring out the punt unit, but it's getting to that point. It is getting to the point where you have to question it. And that's another thing. I love what I've seen from Wilson and his ability to use the legs. And I know he had that huge 3rd and 15, Gavin. I'm not denying that. But at this stage in the game, The clock continues to run when you run the football. You're in your own zone. You have to really be able to have that mental processor. Some people just have it and some people just don't. You have to be able to tell yourself, is now really the right time to keep the ball and go on my own? And he left himself with 6 yards to gain.
Yeah. Expect the Dukes to burn quite a bit of clock this second half. I mean, when the opponent helps burn some clock for you, I mean, not much more you can ask for if you're
absolutely
a Duke player.
That's very true. Brian Grant gets out to about the 50-yard line for the Dukes. He's had a couple solid returns, nothing crazy, but he's getting the job done.
Doherty is actually coming back out on the field for the Dukes, back under center.
I really hope we keep seeing the Dukes run the offense they're running with Vezzo, with Doherty, because I really liked how much the Saxons seem to be on their toes. We saw that deep play, and after all these runs with Schneider, they have to crowd the box, and all of a sudden, the passing game's open. And that's what the key to Duke's success is this season. And why not practice it with 5:11 to go in the third quarter? They start with the give to Schneider, just as expected. Schneider breaks a tackle. Schneider down the sideline. First down, Dukes on a big pickup.
That power run game that was so crucial to the Dukes in the first quarter especially. Coming back at it right now. I mean, just moving the change, burning some clock, and the Dukes should come out on top.
Huge first down for the Dukes. Nothing set in stone yet. They have to continue to string together plays. That's all it is for the Dukes. They keep stringing together solid plays, and another one there. Schneider makes it second and manageable. I think Schneider just broke 100 yards. I'll have to check with the statistician. I think that Schneider broke 100 yards. Either way, he's nearing the mark. Right now he's at 98 yards, so Schneider's 2 away from his first 100-yard rushing game of the season in the first game of the season. They keep him out there on the field. One more give to him will likely seal it. They stack the box very hard, and he gets caught up in the backfield. A big guy makes a big play, falls forward. We'll see if it's enough to get him to that 100-yard mark. It doesn't look like it is. Looks like they're going to only give him about a yard on that one.
I thought maybe they would have gone with a quarterback keeper there after seeing about 7 guys at least crowd up against the line of scrimmage. Thought maybe Doherty would have kept it.
Right.
Gained the first down.
At
gave
this
it to
point,
Schneider.
I think that the Dukes are minimizing any risks. They're just playing what they know works. And here comes Doherty slinging it to the sideline. That's caught. Doesn't get much easier than that. First read, wide open. Throws it on a spot.
A simple curl route. Speck got the separation, and Doherty
absolutely
hit his target.
Couldn't be much easier than that. Dukes move the chains. 3:32 to go in this third quarter. No scoring so far in the half. But the Dukes still with that 16-point advantage, now getting eerily close to the Saxons' red zone. Dukes taking their time here with the give to Schneider. Schneider up the middle. Schneider still going. Schneider with another first down, breaks the 100-yard mark.
Breaking tackle after tackle, and the Dukes are in the red zone.
This has been an amazing outing for a lot of segments of the Dukes, but Schneider may be the #1 highlight. He has just been all over the place. He had the touchdown earlier. He has really impressed me. He's averaging a lot of yards a carry. Continues to do so there. And now it looks like we do have an injury timeout on the field.
That seems to be Schneider himself.
Oh, no. They're calling for water. He's down on the field.
He is up.
Looks like he needs to be helped off the field. Wow. That is just about the worst case scenario that could happen. You're up 16. Get the starters back in there. We saw a lot of drives with Vezzo and Watson. They go back to Schneider and Doherty. And now the guy who just broke 100 yards is limping off the field. Obviously, all hopes are, we hope that he comes back 100%. Glad to see Wilson do so for the Saxons. But the great thing about this Dukes team is that they have depth. And Kelly Watson will now likely be filling in those shoes, at least for the rest of this game. I don't expect them to push it with Schneider.
We see him walking on the sideline now. Appears to be limping, but the fact that he is on both feet is a good sign. Whether he does return or not has still been a terrific performance from number 20, Mark Schneider.
Absolutely. Great start to the season for him. Hopefully he's able to return at a full level of play. Doherty with the spin move and a juke. Wow!
He is in!
Colin Doherty, have yourself a play. Spin move in the backfield. Jukes out 2 defenders and extends this Duke's lead. That was electric.
How about that? This is like watching 2015 Cam Newton out there.
Oh, wow. That was quite the play. It looked like he was going to get bottled up in the backfield, spun out of a tackle.
Turning nothing into something.
And that now makes for 22 unanswered points for the Dukes. It went from 7-7 to 13-7 to 16-7 to 23-7. Now we're at 29-7. To make it 30-7. Kick is good. Dukes on top by 23 on their first game of the year. The Dukes can line up to kick off here. A lot of players having themselves nights tonight. Charlie Specht making a few plays. Colin Doherty now up to 136 yards and 2 touchdowns on the night. 136 total yards, that is. Because he's had 2 pretty big runs tonight. You don't see him use the legs on every play. It's not like this is a QB keeper team, but both times they've turned to it, it has worked exceptionally well.
Absolutely. We've seen Veza make some big plays through the air, and Doherty's been the man who's made some big plays on his feet.
That was a little bit of a strange situation for a fair catch. Looked like he had a few blockers in front of him, but nonetheless, the Saxons will start their drive inside their own 30 for what seems like the 1,000th time.
Yeah, field position has not been won by the field position battle has really been won by the Dukes. Multiple times they've started on the opponent's side of the field, whereas the Saxons, they've been backed up pretty much the whole night. It makes it so much harder for the offense to get drives going, especially when the offense has stalled the majority of the night.
Exactly. It's hard enough when your offense is having an off night, and maybe it is an off night, or maybe it's just a credit to Duke's defense. I think it's a mix of both. I'm not going to just count out the Saxons after one night, but when you're having a night like this, consistently losing the battle of the field position, it is crucial to at least get some yards back on the return. Questionable fair catch, and they go back to the run. This time it works. They love that play. He gets his read between keeping it himself, giving the jet sweep, or giving it up the gun. Works that time. They're going to go out of the no huddle. No time to waste. They give it up the middle again. First down for the Saxons.
Yeah, they run that little jet sweep in the backfield to try and get the Dukes defense spread out to give Williams some room up the middle. Worked the first time, not that time.
Right. Saxon's able to pick up a first down. Will they be able to build on it, though? That is the question. I want to see some air underneath the football. I'm done seeing these handoffs. There's 2:33 to go in the third quarter. You're down by 23 points. It's about time you start playing with some urgency, and they do. Rolling out. Well off target there. Ends up in the York Duke bench.
As soon as he drops back in the pocket, he's facing immediate pressure. That time it was from linebacker David Locke, who let the big hit on Wilson.
David Locke, of course, new to the York Dukes team this year, varsity team that is. And he had himself a year last year prior to coming up. He Let's see here. I was just past something. It looks like Aiden Naraki is a player to highlight. I will get back to David Locke, but our statistician just told us Naraki has 5 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, a forced fumble, and a pass deflection. Wow. That's a hard hit.
That was West Trainer with that big hit, knocked Wilson out of bounds.
I mean, at this point, how much longer do you keep Wilson in the game? He's clearly hurting. I never want to call it a lost cause, but I don't know about keeping him out there at this point. He's clearly slow to move.
Back-to-back plays, he took a shot from a Duke defender.
There's no denying his toughness or athleticism. That is
Yeah.
for sure. He has made some plays with his legs, and he is staying out there regardless of the injury. But really, it's about if he can lead this heroic comeback. Oh, my goodness. That is a hard sack. Wow. I believe that was A.J. Trapp.
That was.
Trapp traditionally doesn't come off the edge. Does so there, and it works out well. Forces the 4th and 15 for yet another short Saxons drive that surmounts in less than 20 yards.
The offensive line for the Saxons has been almost non-existent tonight. Wilson always seems to be rushed every time he drops back to pass.
Another problem for the Saxons tonight has been this special teams punting crew. We'll see if they can right the ship here. Low snap, and it is bobbled just on cue. He's forced to kick a bit of a line drive. Stalls out around the 40, but it continues to bounce. Wrong decision to let it bounce.
They got an extra 10 yards out of that punt.
Oh, and someone is down on the field, grabbing his knee. Let's see here. Looks like it's a Saxon. Again, this game has been really scrappy. A lot of runs, a lot of aggressive plays from both ends. Couple injuries. Not something you like to see this late. You got to wonder how much of a toll this game has had on these players. I mean, I know it's week 1. The Dukes have definitely seemed like the better conditioned, more ready team. But either way, I mean, these players have got to be feeling it right now. The trainers give attention to the player on the field with 1:18 to go. The Dukes will have the ball and a possession at the 30-yard line, but while we wait to get this figured out, we will take a break ourselves. York Sports Network will be right back after this break. And we're back. He was able to walk off under his own power, but at today's day and age, it's not really even a sign. Oh my goodness, that was a hard hit to a player who you cannot afford to get injured. After Schneider went down, Watson was just body slammed. I mean, that was a hard hit.
And now Watson is hurt.
Oh no.
We've seen way too many players go down tonight.
Wow. Both York Dukes backs hurt within a couple minutes of one another. That was an extremely hard hit. Picked him up, threw him down, Luckily, Watson's able to get up. Hopefully, he's just shaken up. Man, that is really tough. Both Dukes starting running backs, 1A and 1B, the ground and pound show, hurt within very short vicinities of one another, and that brings in Evan Grazzini, who's listed as a quarterback/linebacker.
That was scary. Watson seemed to be in some real pain when he was down on the ground. Glad to see him. He's up and walking. Get him some ice.
Here come the Dukes with the give up the middle. A little bit unconventional. As I mentioned, Grazzini is definitely listed on the Dukes roster as a quarterback/linebacker, but after your two guys who you're sure are going to be the workload for the majority of the game go down, it's really the next guy up, and I guess Grazzini is that guy.
And he is a big dude, standing 6 feet tall and 195 pounds. He is the definition of power running. I'm not sure how many snaps he's taken at running back when he was a freshman and a sophomore, but he picked up some yards there.
It will be a 1st and 10 when we come back. It looks like the Dukes are going to let the quarter run out. They have the advantage of the play clock being just longer than the game clock. At the end of the third quarter, the Dukes are on top 30-7. We will be right back at the start of the fourth quarter to continue covering York Dukes football. York Sports Network, AJ Swiatek, Gavin, Connolly. We'll be right back after this intermission. And we're back. Fourth quarter's commenced with a pretty nice play there. Dukes just always finding a way to move the chains. After no gain, the Dukes will look to get back in their rhythm. That did seem like a play that was intended to do so.
Note that Watson is on the field now after going down and limping off what appeared to be an injury. He's back on the field.
So the short Grazzini experiment seems to be over, at least for the time being. Doherty drops back to pass, has his one option. He wants the entire play. Fires it a little too soon. Timing's a little off on the route. And it's incomplete.
Third and 10 for the Dukes as they try and burn the clock in this fourth quarter.
I believe that pass was intended for Charlie Specht. He's been all over the place today.
It'll be interesting to see, will the Dukes try and keep this drive alive, or will they just hand the ball off and try and burn what they can?
The Dukes are staying aggressive. They are more aggressive than the Saxons here. Doherty keeps it himself. Doherty on the move. He's got the first and more, sliding in.
Big play.
Right around the 43.
That was some speed that Doherty had.
That was perfect. If I'm watching that tape as a coach, that is the perfect play. He surveyed through every one of his options. No one was there. Decides to keep it himself, and then he protects himself. He's witnessed his injuries. He gets the first, and after getting what he needs to, slides down. That was a textbook, and I mean textbook run from Colin Doherty.
And a good feel for the pocket as well.
Executed perfectly. Doherty feeling the confidence a bit. He's a lead blocker. Gets brought down there. Not something you see too often, quarterback going out there and being the lead blocker, but he's into it right now. He's fired up.
Yeah, he is. Like I mentioned before, this Dukes team brings a lot of energy to the table. Even now, they look like they could go out and play another game.
I don't think anyone's going to deny the energy displayed by this team tonight. They have looked sharp. Watson coupled with Doherty in the backfield. Looks like there will be a timeout called. Something they didn't like there. Duke's on top 30-7, 10-11 to go. Gavin, this has not been the best showing for the Saxons. There's no denying that. At this point, the odds of winning are seeming slim to none. But there's a long season ahead. This is a 9-game season, and if you want to build on this, you don't want to be the laughingstock of your respective conference, or even more so, it's not like playoff hopes go away after one loss to the Dukes. What are you telling your team if you're Coach Stilling in the locker room after this game? How do you get them back on track to being the team that they're supposed to be? Because this was supposed to be a pretty competitive game.
Yeah, well, really from the initial kickoff, the Saxons were not sharp. They had a lot of self-enforced errors. You mentioned, like, I can count on two hands the amount of snaps that they bobbled and punts that were blocked. Just a lot of self-enforced errors making the Dukes' lives so much easier. And this Dukes team is so tough, you can't make it any easier for them. So I think just going through plays, getting reps in practice to try and make sure that these self-enforced errors do not happen anymore
Gavin,
in the future
I couldn't
weeks.
have said that any better myself. I totally agree. I think that their main problem is that a lot of the damage that has been done has been self-inflicted. They're stabbing themselves in the back, per se. A lot of their faults have come at the hands of themselves. As in saying so, Watson does just that for the Dukes, running backwards. That's a lot of what we've seen from the Saxons tonight. You want to make the game as easy as possible for your team, and there's no better way of doing it, and I mean no better way than being on the same page. We've seen so many Saxons on different pages tonight. We've seen Wilson, after being nearly, I mean, he was barely able to get off of the field. They put him back out there. He's still being forced to run.
True.
Because the timing is off. His reads aren't there. I mean, there has just been so much that has gone wrong, and I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here. But I 100% agree. It all starts with making sure your timing and making sure everything is down, because the amount of snaps that were bobbled. Doherty going deep. Is that caught? It is! Oh, my goodness.
Have yourself a night, Charlie Specht.
Wow. There were two guys in the area. Specht somehow comes down with it. Holy cow. I mean, Doherty finally lets it rip. That's what I've been wanting to see. Beautiful spiral out to Specht, who has just had a phenomenal night.
Specht has been the main target for both Doherty and Veza.
And the easy walk-in touchdown for Kelly Watson
capitalizes
the Dukes lead to 36-7. An extra point will put the Dukes up 30, Gavin.
That's just been the story of the night. Total domination from the Dukes.
We saw the sophomore team earlier dethrone the Saxons in their own stadium, 47-0. Although this might not get down to that same score, the York Dukes football programs are looking extremely sharp so far to start the year. They'll play again against Morton next week, and that will be at home. The fans will be able to watch it hands-on. We really appreciate everyone on the York Sports Network with the student section. Everything about the Dukes is really fun to be there as well. Obviously, the decision's up to you. But we are home next week. We'd love to see you out there. It is extremely fun. We've seen the Saxon student section. They get loud. I will be the first to say I think the Dukes get even louder. We have a very fun senior section. Very fun student section. Everything out there is a great time.
It's always a great night. We usually have some sort of theme going on. A lot of fun for the students.
Right. Any incoming freshmen, transfer students, it is a big part of the York culture. It's extremely fun to go to a game on a Friday night. So although we love you watching the York Sports Network stream, especially if you can't make it, it is extremely fun to show up. Now here comes the PAT. There was a guy off the line, but that is just bolted through the upright, smacks the leg, Hansman gets the lead up to 37-7. That's a 30-point lead for the Dukes with 9:06 to go in the fourth quarter. Saxons looking to get anything started that they can.
Yeah, it's been tough. I mean, we just keep repeating it. We sound like broken records right now. It's been tough. And I just want to hit on one more time this game plan for the Dukes. It's been power running to Kelly Watson or Mark Schneider, getting some yards on the ground, and the occasional deep ball. Charlie Specht has been the main target. We've seen it twice now with Veza throwing two 40-yard bombs, a deep pass from Doherty to Specht on that last drive, and then there was a long touchdown as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Also from Doherty to Specht. So the occasional shot has paid off when the Saxons have crowded the box.
Absolutely. This Duke's offense is so versatile. We've seen them go deep. We've seen them pound the stone. We've seen them do so many things successfully tonight that I have myself questioning, what can this Duke's team really not do? It has been so impressive as we just get word that their Specs now has 133 yards to his name. That's another 100-yard player for the Dukes tonight. He also obviously has a touchdown on the day. It's been a great night for the Dukes. It really has. A lot to be hopeful about this season.
And it's crazy to say he's a junior, so he's only going to get better. Well, we will likely see him next year as a senior if all goes well.
And the same actually goes for Saxons running back one, Najari Williams. He started off pretty hot. The Saxons, all things considered, did get pretty discombobulated. There was a few things that you can't predict. The quarterback goes down. They had a few unprecedented plays, etc. But when the offense was going strong, a lot of it was due to Williams. And only a junior, it will be fun to see him come into his own with another year of development, especially as starting running back, because that kick is yet again bobbled. Trips down and ends up down right around the 23. And we are back. Duke's on defense looking to do more of the same. It's still Wilson under center, throws a little screen. Looks like the receiver was supposed to be blocking, came back to the ball there as well. But it's a semi-successful play, all things considered. Looked like it was about a gain of 5. Just under 9 minutes to go. The Dukes are already on top by 30. Running clock should be implemented any moment now. This game is getting out of hand. The Dukes have really just been the better team all throughout the day. You saw Cogley and Neese with that huge block and recovery. You've seen a couple just chunk plays down the field, whether it be running, whether it be throwing, whether it be receiving. We have seen all sorts of things. And when the Dukes started that game with the missed field goal, I thought to myself, please don't let this be another one of the woes. I wanted the Dukes to get on the right track, of course, and they did just that.
Absolutely. When the wheels fall off, you come back and you tighten them, and that's exactly what they did tonight.
Absolutely. Now it's Wilson under center, looking to get anything going. Looked like a Duke jump there, no call. It's a first down run.
Pretty good gain for the Saxons, and they moved the chains.
They have a new running back in, also junior Kyle Gonzalez, letting Najari Williams take the drive off. No need to be running your running back downhill, especially in this stage of the game. I would agree with that decision. Oh my goodness. That was nice.
Down the sidelines.
That was a nice little chunk play.
It was, yeah. Another first down for the Saxons.
Saxons now stringing together their first drive with multiple first downs since the first half. Crazy to say, but it is the truth. Saxons offense has really struggled tonight. And as you look on the sideline, it does look like Doherty has taken his helmet off. Maybe he is done for the night. Maybe he's just taking a little break, but typically a sign.
You never know.
That you could see Veza out there.
I'm sure Coach Fitz does not want to risk any injury if the Dukes go back
absolutely.
and get
We've
the ball back.
seen a lot of injuries tonight.
Quite a bit, yeah.
And that's how it always is in your first couple games back. A lot of conditioning. You got to be ready to go. It's hard to predict where other teams will be at compared to yourselves, and we've seen that a couple times. I am honestly just shocked and happy for the Saxons that the starting quarterback, DeJounte Wilson, was able to come back out of the half. And when I saw it happen and all that momentum was swinging, I thought, oh no. But he really has been pretty quiet in the second half. Shovels it off there for a loss of yards. Probably should have just thrown that one away.
Yeah. I mean, they haven't really used him as much of a passer tonight. He is a junior. He is inexperienced, but, you know.
Wilson's actually a senior.
Wilson is. Oh, yes. Wilson is a senior. My bad. But, yeah, even still, a lot of just pitches and short screens, short passes.
They have not opened up the playbook.
Not at all, no.
And, I mean, it's interesting to watch because that makes sense. You want to ease the quarterback into the season, but it feels like eventually you would have seen them turn away from it, but they've decided to stick with the game plan, except for here as they gun the ball down the sideline. That ball is way too high for the intended target. That looked like it was meant for Fabian Baez. First time we said his name. Because there's not been a lot of passing attempts more than 5 yards for the Saxons tonight.
Not at all, no. That may have been the longest pass attempt of the game for the Saxons, and Wilson flew it over Baez's head.
4th and 12. They bring the punting unit out. And honestly, rightfully so. At this point in the game, I know a lot of people would like to see them go for it, pick up some points, but the punting unit has been a problem, and why not work on it? Why not treat this as a practice against a real team? This is a great call to get the punting unit more acclimated. A clean snap, clean kick. And
there we go.
The punt unit has a successful outing as it rolls right inside the 20.
Duke's back to work on offense with just over 5 minutes remaining. Tough to see who will be coming out on the field for this next drive, whether it'll be Doherty or Veza, but we will see in a moment.
It is tough to see. That is another thing that makes the Dukes so tough. I mean, when you have options like that, teams are being forced to scheme for multiple quarterbacks with different playing styles. It just makes it that much harder to prepare for another team when you have to think, are they going to play Veza? Are they going to play Doherty? Are they going to attack with the ground? Are they going to attack with the air? This team is so versatile. It's extremely hard to prepare against the Dukes. And it looks like it is Veza trotting out there.
It will be Veza, and Grazzini will be the tailback as well.
So as predicted, Doherty's night is done, rightfully so. He had himself a very nice night.
He did. May not have got a lot of volume, but, man, he sure made the plays when he was called upon.
Oh, absolutely. And that's all it takes. It is a team sport, and it's not always about the quarterback airing it out. If the run game's working, as it clearly is again with Grazzini, no reason to air it out when it's not necessary. The clock ticks below 5 minutes remaining. Duke still have that 30-point lead, likely trying to make this the last possession of the ball game. Practiced that time management that is so crucial in more tight games. And you got to think, while a lot of onlookers are thinking this game at this point is just throwaway time, this is a very important reps for a lot of these guys. Veza's trying to prove why he still deserves to get snaps under center. Only a junior. I mean, all signs point to him being the starting quarterback next year on Varsity, based on the fact he's already getting snaps here tonight. But, these are very important snaps for a lot of these guys. It reminds me a lot of the NFL preseason that's currently underway. I mean, by the time that it gets to the fourth quarter, maybe not all the starters are in the game, but these are important reps. These are important for position battles. It's important to get tape on your guys.
Absolutely.
And that's really what this is all about.
100%. And Veza has made his presence heard in his when he's gotten the ball. He's been accurate. He's been able to throw the ball deep, something we hadn't seen from Doherty. A little bit of issues with his pocket presence, but things that can be definitely fixed in practice. That's for sure. The talent is there.
I would agree with everything you just said. He had a great night. He had that one time he was sacked without being aware of what was happening, but I absolutely would agree. I think that the pocket presence maybe the only concern for Veza, but really went very well. And look who's out there. Got to give him the shout out. Jake Reishus, our cameraman, just made me realize Ellis McAdoo, fan favorite, is out on the field. That's number 65
a big body out there. Number 65.
Very big body. Reminiscent of Mikai Becton in all the good ways.
6'4", 300 pounds, and
He
all
is
of
a
it.
body mover. He is an absolute unit, and I would not want to line up against him. I mean, how are you going to get around that? He is massive. He's an absolute freak of nature. A human should not be able to be that big and move the way he does. He can move.
He can.
With 3:02 left, they let the play clock run down, call a timeout. This game is all but over. Dukes are on top, and now we're starting to see some of the fan favorites get in. It's a great time. Dukes on top, 37-7. Thank you so much if you're still tuning into the York Sports Network. Love to see the Dukes getting out to this great of a start to the season. AJ Swiatek, Gavin, Connolly, we're going to take a very short break and be back when the play resumes. Very big 3rd and 1 here for the Dukes. As we mentioned just prior, this is a very important practice for the Dukes in time of possession. And later parts of the game, we're going to have to be able to pick these kinds of plays up. And they get a lot of yards. Grazzini just fought for an extra 15 yards. It looked like he had about a 6-yard pickup. And then he just keeps fighting, and it looks like he wanted it more than the Saxons did.
Grazzini carrying bodies. It seemed to be wrapped up at about the 50, fighting for more.
Absolutely. Fought for the extra yards.
And I'm sure Coach Fitz has to be pleased. This is the 3rd string running back we're talking about. And just the effort that he's showing is just exactly what you want to see.
We've had a lot of great outings from Dukes tonight. I mean,
Absolutely.
there's just so many players. I just want to make sure I mention everybody. Like, everybody has had it seems like everybody's had a great play. Literally everyone on this team has made their presence heard. I don't want anyone to go unnoticed. Nevertheless, here comes, that is not even Veza in the game anymore. They've taken Veza out.
That'll be the 3rd stringer, Mason Balfans, a junior.
Now they don't want to risk any injury to Veza. Decide to put in the 3rd stringer. This is where a lot of background starts to come in. You see some of the Dukes starting to leave the student section. This game is pretty much wrapped up. 2-minute warning has passed. Now we're at 1:45 on the game clock. 24 seconds left on the play clock. One more first down will seal this game for the Dukes, and it will show some very, very, very good signs to Coach Fitzgerald and all sorts of assets.
Absolutely, and the Dukes are going to celebrate this win. It showed a lot of excitement on the sidelines during big plays. So winning by 30 points, if the score does seem to stay this way, I mean, couldn't have asked for a better opening Friday from the Dukes.
There will be a delay of game from the Dukes. Should make it a 2nd and 10 now. You see a lot of the King of the Couch groups walking past. If you're not familiar with King of the Couch here at York, it's a very entertaining event. Students dress up. They play dress up. No, they go out to events and support the teams, see who could show the most school spirit. It's what they do instead of the King and Queen of Homecoming, and it's a very exciting alternative, the Kings and Queens of the Couches. It's a very entertaining thing to watch, and a lot of groups showed out tonight. There's a lot of groups in general this year. I've noticed that we have a lot of King of the Couch groups at York this year. Great to see so many people getting involved.
There are quite a bit. A lot of school spirit from these seniors, and you know, the football games, one of the biggest events, I'd argue the biggest event of the year for the Dukes. They always show up, and they always make their presence heard. Always
Absolutely.
Loud in the stands.
And no better time to be a Dukes fan than right now. This is potentially the last play of the ball game. They're going to let the play clock run down as far as they can. Likely give it to the tailback one last time. The clean give, fights for every bit of those 2 yards. And the clock will run out. 30 seconds, going down to 29, and it will continue to run. These teams have had enough. Dukes come out on top, 37-7. Gavin, that was an extremely, and I mean extremely, hopeful outing for the Dukes. There is a lot in store for this team this season, and I can't wait to watch it. I don't know about you, but I was extremely impressed with what I saw out there tonight. If you want to give me a few points of what you saw, just what were you impressed with? There's so many things to be impressed with.
I was impressed with everything on both sides of the football. You know, it came out, Saxon started with the ball, immediate defensive pressure from the defensive line. Nolan Korzanowski and Everett Snyder immediately putting pressure on the quarterback, setting the tone for the defense. when the Dukes were on offense, it started with Jack Doherty, and immediately it was power football, power running. Running backs like Kelly Watson and Mark Schneider really just carried the rock and marched the Dukes down the field. And occasionally the Dukes would take a shot towards the end zone or a shot for a deep pass, and those plays usually worked more often than not. Charlie Speck, a wide receiver, had an incredible game. Had over 100 yards and a touchdown. You know, we've seen this is exactly the type of opening game that you would like to see from the Dukes. Just lots of good things on both sides of the football, and totally something to build on. If I'm Coach Fitzgerald, I am extremely pleased with what I saw from my guys today.
I'd like to give a special thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight. Special thank you to the York faculty for always having the students' best interests in mind. When given the choice between being right and being kind, always choose to be kind. I'm not going to keep you guys here too long. I have my SAT tomorrow at 7:40 in the morning.
Ooh.
AJ Swiatek, Gavin Connolly on the call. The Dukes walk away with the W against the Saxons, 37-7. Absolute routing and a great start to the season. Dukes start off 1-0. We will be on the call next week, week 2 at home versus Morton. Thank you guys for tuning in. York Sports Network signing off.